overrun in cost because they dragged their feet for 5 years. Okay, we just sent out payment that did not even get close to adequately covering the cost of the disaster.
But that's the township's issue.
Yeah, it is, but
drag their feet, then they pay for it.
you know, so all of these things are gonna come due, whether they were due in 2024 or not. Now we're getting bills from 2023, from 2022, okay, and here they come. There has to be some kind of guidance or something that, okay, you got this,
To move forward.
let's go.
Right.
And not necessarily by getting the cheapest contractor you can possibly find in the tri-state area to do it. But that being said, okay, if you want or need this to get done, it must need to be done now. Well, then let's go. But yeah, I can't even keep track of True North Steel stuff anymore. I'm serious, I'm not trying to put on a show here. And Argyle was in here earlier talking about long-term plans and things of that nature. This is going to bite you in ways that you can't even possibly imagine if you don't have some level of control or some input on this, not just do whatever.
Well, but Dan, really, that's not it is your concern, but it's not your concern for that. It's Brent's and it's these two individuals as to what's needed and what's approved, right? And
Well,
Brent,
and
I'm
when it gets
speaking
done.
for you.
When it gets done.
Like when you order the pipes, are you ordering just under Wells County, or are you
They come
designating
out
to
of, we
them?
have an account with Wells County, so
Okay.
it comes to Renee.
Okay.
So then,
And that's what Dan's talking about. They come to-
any pipe that I order gets billed to Wells County.
Okay.
And so then I keep track of the sites, what pipe I've ordered,
Mm-hmm.
and then when the bills come, then Renee says, okay, I got these 7 pipe right here, the 36-inch pipe that we ordered for the drains. So then I said, okay, like me and you talked on the phone yesterday, okay, well 6 are for the Waterboard, and 1 was an extra because we were told to order a 36, and as it wound up, it was a 24 that was put in there. But I had already had the order in, and they were loaded, made. Having an extra 36-inch pipe is not a bad thing. But my point is that when the Waterboard asks me to order pipe, the bill comes to the Wells County, and then I'll tell them, okay, this is over 60 inches, this is for this township, we have to pay for this pipe. This is for the Waterboard, this bill gets shipped over to Tammy, and that's the way we're dealing with it right now.
Would it be possible
Sort
when
this
you
out.
order these pipes through True North to put a job order on there?
Well, they asked me, I have to give them an address for the site.
Okay. Okay.
So for
That's like a
instance,
job order.
Yeah.
So,
That would work.
like for the 2 big pipe that were just delivered and put in by Mark Schmitz's, that pipe order had an address for the site.
Mhm.
So I try to give and I'll go out to the site and pin it and give it to, and then that also helps the delivery drivers
Sure. Yeah.
for where the pipe are dropped off.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I don't have a PO number if that's what, but they have a site address.
And that's basically all you need.
Yeah. Usually,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
these 7 pipe that were ordered for the Waterboard, they were delivered to the Pheasant shop.
Mhm.
I knew where they went, and I told Renee where they went, and we actually delivered them ourselves to the site.
All right. Anything else?
I guess I want to ask Brian a question.
Go ahead.
Okay. You were out there with Dale yesterday.
Was that okay?
Yeah, that don't matter to me.
Okay.
It meant I have no problem
He
with
asked
that.
me and I said I would come.
Yeah, okay. Now, he complains that he's getting flooded. Other than in 1993, we asked him this question when he came to a water board meeting, and I don't remember there's one other year that the water got high in his yard.
9 or 11. That was bad everywhere.
Yeah, and 93 was high too when that dam broke down by Hertzville. Okay, that was the 3 times that I can recall that he told us the water. But that water that he's talking about is coming from the west in the river. The water that we are dumping into the river is a half a mile downstream from his place. Now, we fixed the channel. Mark wanted us to do some work. We went out there, we fixed it. You've seen it.
I saw that.
Okay, we fixed that. We believe now that the channel is fixed because it was never done, because when they did these projects, a lot of times they ran out of money.
Yeah. I
And then they
understand
cut corners, and it was never finished.
Mhm.
You know, that ditch should have been 10, 12 feet wide in the bottom of it, you know, to carry the amount of water slowly through there, because you don't want it to run fast, because then it erodes.
that. Yeah.
Okay, so we took from a 5 or 6 foot wide channel and just, you know, widened it out enough so it works the way it's supposed to now,
Okay.
and cleaned it all up.
Mhm. I saw that.
Okay, so Dale complains that he's getting flooded. He's not getting flooded.
Oh, he might be, but it's from the James River to the west.
River overflows.
Right.
Well,
And,
then
and this
answer me
Wells
this
County one
question.
has nothing to do with that.
Answer me this question, how come the river backs up once in a while? From this drain?
I doubt that.
Really?
When you dump in 100 cubic feet a second into a river, are you gonna tell me that's gonna back the water up?
All depends on the ice melt and all the snow that's forward, but that has happened. I
Okay,
watched it.
okay. 2 years ago, when he was complaining about all the water by the river, or by the Highway 52,
Yeah.
that channel where this has to run, the reason it got so high is that channel was plump full of snow. And it took a long time for the water to build up back there to
I
blow
understand
through
all
there.
that.
Okay. And it never went over the 18th Street crossing either, by the way.
Okay.
That's where they put the new pipes in.
Yes.
18, okay.
It never went over the top of that, so it was still a controlled flow. 100 cubic feet a second is roughly what it is. Then, you know, obviously it builds up, it finally blows through, it comes through way faster. And to try to make those guys happy, we said, okay, from now on, we made the motion. Brian Schimmelpenninck was in the room with those guys at the same time, that we will go out there and we will clean the snow out of that channel so it can start running
I remember you
in a
doing that.
slow, orderly fashion. But it doesn't matter what we do, what we say, or whatever, Dale is not happy. And he's not gonna be happy until I'm off this board.
Right, I understand all this. One of the things that I would like to see happen, I don't care who's running the water board, and I don't care who's pissed off, whether it's the water board or the landowner, okay? But there needs to be, it sounds to me like there needs to be a little more communication. That's not always easy, and I'm not saying it is. All I'm saying is a little communication ahead of time. It's gonna heat things up, no doubt, no doubt. But
And that's exactly what we did, Brian.
yeah, a little communication ahead of time is always a good thing. And whether you're shouting at each other or having a beer together, doesn't make any difference. Communication is better than none.
We guys gotta be a two-way street, you gotta remember.
I understand that.
But
just
but
saying-
how do you
I'm just
how do
saying,
you communicate with somebody that does not want to accept the facts?
okay, now, being you're the head of the water board, okay, and you are. That's part of your job to how to try to do that. I don't know how to do that. I'm just saying, that's part of the thing you get with the job.
You guys are familiar with what's going on out east of town, right?
East of town?
Yeah.
Leases.
With
Fairville
the
I
township.
understand that.
Okay.
I follow you.
It's the same deal. We did the engineering, we went back and dug out all the records, give them all the facts to all of it. They still go and disagree with us and go dig out the culverts in the road.
That was a little extreme.
Yes. But it's no different than the situation with Dale.
Understand.
It's the same thing.
Right.
That little episode out there has cost Wells County taxpayers in excess of $62,000.
I understand that.
And it's not done. In fact, I got served the papers this morning that it's going to court now.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. But
You know,
who has to pay that bill?
Well, and sadly, it's under the jurisdiction of their township, so the township is gonna pay
Their township will
their
pay for it, yeah.
bill.
Their townships should be
Boone.
moved up over there.
When we were in Carrington that day,
Mhm.
that was a perfect example. When Richard Linney was on that and we went to that thing, the first words out of Richard's mouth were, I didn't know all these people were gonna be there. Larry, Devin, I, Jeff Schaefer, and Chelsea Schaefer were there, protecting our townships, basically, right? That's what we were doing there, and you were protecting your water board.
Yep.
And he wanted to complain to them guys that they're not doing their job. Basically is what that was. And he wanted, what was that? That was, what's Richard Linney on?
Association of Townships Board.
Association.
State board.
Association of Township.
Board.
Yep.
And he wanted to go above and beyond us.
Mm-hmm.
And he never got nowhere that day, did he?
No, and the attorney sat there and explained to him who's in charge of the water in assessed drains.
Yeah.
And he said,
Maybe
we can't
that-
help you.
Maybe that has to happen to Dale. I mean, I'm just using that as an
And
example.
I think it
Well,
has.
and
It
I was-
just-
Has that
I
happened
want to go
to
on
him?
record too of complimenting these guys that are doing the job they do. That's the toughest job in the county right there.
Yeah.
Water's the most
And-
thing.
Well, I said
You guys
that,
got a tough job.
you know, they don't have personal vendettas here against
No.
people or anything like that. They're not getting a six-figure salary for this job, so they're doing it out of the goodness of their heart. So in
And
turn,
we follow the laws.
you go and based by the regulations and laws, and that's what you go by. And is it gonna make everybody happy? No.
Never.
You know, talk to God about a big rain event. I mean, stuff like that is
Yeah.
out of
Climate and weather make all the
anybody's
difference in the
control,
world for
so.
you guys.
Yep.
Right. All right.
In 2021, when there was a drought, you never heard a word from anybody.
It's not a tough job when it's dry.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, this isn't for me, is it?
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I guess
Larry.
you'll have to figure out what you're gonna do with me. You wanna get rid of me, that's fine.
County, now.
We're still on
I'm
the,
heading.
Now,
We got this
now,
one to do.
now we're changing, okay, in front of you is the 2014 county culvert policy. This has nothing to do with assessed drains or anything like that. Currently,
County Township, correct?
county township,
Yeah.
correct.
yeah, back it up, we need to put this one on the agenda for next month, all right?
Correct, and in the meantime, Dan,
For the water
have
board.
Oliver look at it. Right? This-
Yep.
And that was written up by our attorney, that policy, just so you know.
Okay.
That would be-
Basically, all he did is took the, what's in
Century
century code
code
and put
and
on there.
copied it, right. And Oliver look at it, look at century code,
Give us the blessing.
give us the blessing.
And just to, what Brian, or Brent said about installing these culverts, he's on the right line of getting contractors to do the job right. When we do something on a water board, we have a contractor. If we got an area that we're working in that is prone to overtopping the road, where we put the culverts in, we build up the road so the water never goes over that anymore.
Right.
Doesn't wash out the pipes no more.
Well, there again, it's the, putting the screws to township supervisors again, that is the problem,
Okay.
right?
They have no problem asking you guys to pay for culverts to take little bridges out. I don't feel that we should have any problem asking them to make sure they're installed properly.
Right.
And you hate to be the
That was my point.
hard-nosed guy on these.
Because I don't want you guys to get any more True North bills. Dan's already, I mean, you know, he's right. The amount of True North steel bills that come in is a lot.
All right,
And we ain't done yet.
No.
okay, culvert policy, 2014, you had it ahead of time. Do you want to change any of this, or are you all good?
The
With-
number 6 is circled.
Well, yeah, the rest of this is really like 3. If you want to increase the size of the culvert, you have to require a hydrology study. Well, you do. I mean, that's just legal jargon. 6 is the bottom line of what we should deal
That's
with
what
here.
we've been doing.
That's what we've been doing.
Is that, I don't have a copy of it, but is that the 60-inch thing?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, give it. Okay. Number 6.
Yep.
So that's circled because you think we should change that
No,
percentage? Just curious.
I mean, this, we should review this versus saying, well, gee, that's the way it's always been done. Well, that doesn't mean it has to be done
Right.
this way in the future. I mean, you wanna save costs in the road department? Get rid of that and have the townships pay for all of them.
Well,
That's
then
one option.
Then you would find out what heat is.
Well,
Well, there's been lots of times where there's been, for instance, 236-inch pipe that were there, that because of number 6,
Yeah.
the township has says, well, let's put a 72 in instead.
Right.
Okay?
then the county will pay for it.
And, yeah, they want to pass the buck. They don't want to buy the 236s, so they
Let
know in
them
the
buy
culvert
72.
policy 60 inches or more. And so my question is if you're gonna do that, there has to be a hydrology study done. And that hydrology study then is gonna have to be paid for by the township.
Right.
Yeah,
I was
if it's
gonna
a township
say, that's
issue.
astronomically
Correct.
expensive.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that, and I don't know if that's in this, this was obviously drawn up when I was just a
That's
blade
number
guy.
3.
Yep.
So there's nothing to consider the cost of these things in 2014.
Yeah, it's in there, it's 3, yeah.
As
Right.
compared to the bills you get now.
Right.
What is
It's all
the cost
relative.
increased? How many percent is the cost increased in 10 years?
Exactly.
Realistically, and obviously I don't have a list of it, but I mean, there are thousands of culverts in Wells County underneath township roads. And I would say probably less than 5%, or even less than that, are bigger
I
than
was gonna
60
say.
inches, okay? There is
Percentage-wise,
a
it's not very many,
tremendous
is it?
amount of 15, 18, 24s, and 36s in there.
Right.
Where we're getting the increased cost of culverts that the county's having to buy is all these townships eliminating these little bridges that have been there for 70 years, okay? They're not safe, the equipment's gotten bigger.
Right.
So to eliminate the bridges, you're going to put culverts in. And to put culverts in to eliminate a bridge, those pipe are going to be bigger than 60
They have
inches.
to be the bigger.
And hence that's,
they
you
can-
guys have done, you've never said no, but we're talking to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars of pipes that you have bought to help the townships remove these little bridges. Okay? I just wanted you guys to remember that. That's where your lying share of your
So
culvert
there's
price
no
is.
bridge ever replaced and there's 3 36s that go in there?
Well, no, usually these bridges that are being replaced in these townships, there's 372s going in. You have to match the flow. You
Well,
can't
right.
slow the water down.
So the flow generally is that great on these little bridges.
Well, yeah, the main reason they don't want these little bridges is because number one, they're unsafe. They were built 70 years ago.
Too narrow.
They were too narrow, and they certainly were not made for the amount of weight that's going over them in the townships. And it is a tremendous liability to the townships to have these little bridges. So that's why several townships have come to you guys in the last 5 years, Delzer. And you guys have never said, no, let's get rid of this little bridge, we'll buy you the pipe. You guys remove the
Are
bridge,
there a
put
lot
the
of
pipe
those
in.
left?
Oh, I don't have a list.
I
but-
mean, ballpark.
well, there's one over by Sykes, and it's
That
gonna come up,
labor
yeah,
one, that
yeah,
come up
labor,
the other day to me.
yep. I would say there's gotta be less than 10 now, but you guys have done 6 or 7 in the last 5 years.
Well, you take, on 18th and 20th, that's Cheyenne River crossing. That was easy to put those culverts in, boom, 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 and it was done. And then we come to the bridge a mile closer to town, and it's just a headache, so it gets very interesting.
Brent, are all the bridges, look, I got not really a complaint, but are out here on the old highway?
Were the bridge markers missing?
Yeah.
We got it ordered.
Oh, good, because then I can tell them that.
Well, they get knocked down all the time,
I know, but the
especially this
spring-loaded
time of
ones I
year.
think work the best,
Yeah.
don't they? The spring-loaded
They're
ones. 'cause
expensive.
I know, but the
But yeah.
headers,
You can see the one spring one has been replaced with a spring one that
Yeah.
was knocked down.
but somebody brought that to my attention, and all I'm doing is
Yep.
asking
All
them.
right.
Yeah, we're aware of it.
Smaller header.
You tell them that, then.
One thing that you guys will chuckle, I'll take one more minute, when you go out to the new bridge site,
Yeah, I was gonna say, how wide is our little sign?
they got their bridge markers up, but they won't be there during the next harvest, because they're up high, and they'll be knocked down immediately.
How wide is the top of that bridge? Where the markers are? do you know?
Is it 30 feet?
Oh, I figured that when I drove by, yep, this is not.
Them
32,
40-foot headers are
yeah.
gonna take care of that.
Oh, yeah. And not only are these up, they're extended up because of the low area, because of the downslope, so I don't even know if you can tilt
Yeah,
it.
that's what I was wondering, I
Yeah.
wonder.
First thing I noticed when I was out there, too. Go ahead.
They might have to have some of them shorter spring-loaded ones put in
That's
there.
probably what we'll
That's what's
replace them
gonna
with
happen,
when these
because
get knocked
they're gonna-
down.
But they
Well,
gotta get knocked down first.
it's-
Correct.
And I do the
Correct.
same, I do the same thing, and some of you are sticklers about speed limits on roads. You know how illegal it is to take a 40-foot header down a gravel
They
road?
should be pulled in a trailer behind their combine.
That's right.
How many do that?
5%.
You know what? In
At
the
best.
in the Linton area, who's your buddy down there?
John Wall.
they enforce that,
Yes.
right? I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
making this up,
I know,
right? They
they
do
do.
enforce that to the key.
Any of the custom combiners come here, they put their header on their trailer. Peterson's put their header on their
The
trailer,
minute-
they go down
The
the road.
minute
And
they
I
leave
was
the
guilty
field,
of
they
that.
got a trailer.
We do the same thing.
Do you know
It
how
could
many-
be enforced, but we can't enforce the speed limit. How are we gonna enforce any of the rest of this? And we can't even enforce
wouldn't
overloaded trucks.
I would not even wanna try to enforce that.
How could you? You know how many combines are in the field in Wells County in a typical day that are
Lot.
being moved from field
A
to
It-
field?
lot.
It's like
How
nothing
you gonna
else.
do it?
And
You're
I'm
not.
and I'm not promoting this, but it's like anything else. If you did if you did two of them,
Word
the word would
of
get
mouth.
out.
Yeah.
You know how many
Yeah.
combines come up Knutson's Hill without a flag? That's a blind hill.
Mhm.
I just went up there the other day,
Yeah.
but we had someone.
But a lot of them don't, because I've traveled that road quite
And
a
that's
bit.
extremely dangerous.
I bet it
It's
is.
scary when you think about it.
It is.
That one's bad going, if you're
Going
going
east.
this way, it's not so bad, but going east, that's a,
Yeah.
All right, getting back to the issue at hand, culvert policy. You want to amend this all? You want to leave it as is? What do you want to do? It's easy to define a problem. It's a little more difficult coming up with a solution.
It is a challenge, but it might take that there needs to be some level of stipulation of communication. Okay, and the idea of removing a bridge and placing 272s in there as opposed to 436s, or, you know,
Right.
they're basically handing you a problem that you don't have an option to approve or disapprove.
Well, unless
And
we
that's
realize
my
this.
issue with this whole thing. Is it just, you guys don't even weigh in on it? You're using an 11-year-old policy, do what you want, send us the bill. That's not right.
No.
Oh.
And I'm in the camp of, especially when, and here's the big problem, is the bridge issue in that the township has, if we're gonna spend all that money to put culverts in, we should have some say in
How they
them
get
taking
put in.
it out.
Yeah.
But they have come to us, though, haven't they?
wording.
Yeah, and I mean, I got pictures on my phone when we go out and do these projects. I go out and look at them afterwards when you guys buy the pipe. And for the most part, they've been done very good. As far as removing a 20-foot bridge on a township road, you know, and one of the main reasons that you're seeing bigger pipe go into that bridge rather than a bunch of small pipe is the channel's only so wide,
Right.
okay? So when you take out a 20-foot bridge and you measure the flow going underneath that 20-foot bridge, you have to get the flow the same. So,
Right.
you know, it's not like if it works out to be 272-inch pipe, well, 272-inch pipe is 2 6-foot pipe. You can't just put 4 3-foot pipe in. The flow of the pipe changes with the size of the pipe.
Right.
So that's where the hydrology study comes in, okay? And then you look at, okay, down the road when we're removing a lot of these bridges or that they did in Delzer Township, okay, there's 372s here. That's what worked there. The next bridge is the exact same size bridge, so we put 372s in there. And that's the way we have done it. And you cannot put a bunch of small pipe in to replace a bridge. You have to put big pipe in because the channels out there are not 200 feet wide. They're 30 feet wide, if that.
The one thing, you gotta remember, you can't mess with the flow of the water. And
Correct.
that's where Dale's wrong, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There's been no change in that, and that flow's gotta stay that way.
And that's what was frustrating with the one project over by Bowden, is this was like a 16-foot bridge. So they put the 172-foot or 72-inch pipe in between where the bridge was, and the second one they put outside the channel because they didn't want to remove the bridge pilings. Okay? Well, number one, you're not going to get the proper compaction around that pipe that's in the channel, and the second pipe that needs to be there isn't even in the channel. And that's why we went out, we talked to the township, there was lots of complaints, the contractor came back and did it right. But
You
there
take
are
the pilings
shortcuts
out?
being taken.
Did you take
I was
the-
not there, he was told to, I don't know. But it looks much better. And also, he built the road up there too. And that's what needs to be done, what Larry talked about, is that, you know, some of this the townships need to understand that you guys are spending a lot of money to take liability off them.
Well, and should wordage be in this culvert policy something to the effect that the construction and installation has to be approved by the county
Yes.
before we pay for
Exactly.
these?
I would suggest adding that to your new culvert policy book. That's yes,
my point.
because I don't see that in here.
No,
And also probably bridge replacement needs to be
approved by us,
approved.
And you guys have approved
Yeah.
it. You know, they've
Well-
come in.
but
But it
that
needs
should
to
be in the
written.
policy.
Yeah.
Then we got some.
Yeah.
Skin in the game.
Look at 6, about 2 and 3. There's a lot of wording there that ends up costing us money.
Where's this, Brian?
Number 6 on the second page. You go, there's 6, there's A, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 and
On the
3,
third page?
number 2.
Okay.
I don't think, if my opinion matters, I don't think it would hurt
Oh,
to
this is the
give this
waterboard
culvert
stuff.
policy
No, that's
to
not-
Oliver and let him look this
Oh,
over.
this is about covered.
But on those 4 there, we can end up, 2 and 3, we can end up paying for culverts, besides being as big as they are. 60% of the
Oh,
cost.
okay, you're right.
That's the waterboard policy. We just went over that when Larry was here.
No.
That's,
This is Wells County amended culvert policy.
Right, but on the back page on the top page, you're seeing the
It's the water board.
Wells water, that, and that page is just basically,
Oh, that's a.
right, it's a redundancy
Yes.
of what
Yes.
Tammy gave us here a while back.
Here's,
Look at it close, it's the same thing.
this
We
is
got
Wells
different-
County amended culvert policy, February 4th, 2014.
I know.
That's the first page.
That's on the top.
The second and third page is a different
Oh,
policy.
okay,
That's the
okay,
water board.
That's the
Okay.
water board one.
okay.
So they
sorry,
both are in.
Sorry.
do you guys
Thank you for
feel that maybe
clarification.
this culvert policy that you have from 2014,
I got Township Road on that.
right, but shouldn't this maybe be brought to Oliver's attention for him to read through before you do anything?
And then we should list those.
Because the state's attorney that set all this up in 14 is no longer with us.
Good idea.
Right.
And he can work with both them, the one for the water board plus the township one.
Well, right,
I mean, are
we
they-
already gave them the water board one.
Yeah, but are they gonna be the same then, or will they be
Well, I
different?
mean, there's gonna,
They're gonna be different.
They'll be different.
because one is for township, one is
One,
for
right,
water.
Right, it's correct.
And one's two of the drains and one's township.
So
I
Dan,
agree with Dan, it's been, nothing has really been done for 11 years. Why wouldn't you guys do our due diligence about giving it to your new state's
so,
attorney and
okay, what do you want
suggestions?
changed? Do you want wordage in there that we need to approve the installation process before we pay for the culvert? You're all good with that?
Yeah, cause it's not in there.
Right.
Secondly, that we need to approve as a commission any bridge removal before we pay for any culverts at that township. You know, if the township wants to do this all on their own, party
So
on.
be it.
But if we're gonna pay for it, we wanna approve getting rid of that bridge.
That's very good. yeah.
Where does that affect in the FEMA deal? Okay, let's say somebody just slops one in and it gets washed out, and FEMA comes in and FEMA comes back and says, what kind of policy you got?
Well,
I'm
you-
just asking a question.
Well, that would be a
Yeah.
question for Tammy, but the only time FEMA gets involved is if if FEMA declares Wells County a disaster. If one of these culverts washes out,
They're not gonna know how it was
and
installed.
Wells County has not been approved by a
Right,
FEMA
But
disaster,
if
Correct, Tammy?
that township didn't get the blessing of the county,
Yeah,
saying it
I
was
don't think that
approved.
matters. That doesn't matter.
That doesn't matter.
okay?
FEMA's their own animal.
That's their own, that's a
Okay.
whole nother, that makes your head hurt.
There's whole different rules you have to follow for
Okay,
that.
anybody else want any other revisions in this culvert policy? We're gonna move on here.
well, I think it's important that, I think you kinda said it with your second one, but any work that is required by the township does have to meet county standards when done.
Right, that's,
Right,
That's put in.
Yeah, okay,
Dan has-
as long as that got in there, 'cause
Those
that
two
scares me.
You got that down?
I just said the consensus of the commission is to have the state's attorney review this policy with guidance from the commission. And there just has to be some guidance here. You can't just let people send you bills
No,
without
but,
having.
but those, write those
Well, we
two
should write
things
those.
down to give to the state's attorney in that, number one, payment won't be made for these culverts until the installation is approved by, I don't know, put the road foreman or, no,
The
by the
commission.
council, by the commission.
By the
Yeah.
commission.